almost no time to record this video. Awesome. I'm still rolling on how awesome Eurovision was. I am on that train and it is awesome. If you don't know what Eurovision is, it is a song contest that happens in Europe, a different country every year depending on who won the previous year. It's been going on for like 54 years and it's awesome. I didn't know anything about Eurovision until I started dating my husband, and that is one of the saddest things maybe of my whole life. I love Eurovision so much. I love watching it. I love seeing who's performing. I love seeing the audience. I love learning more about everyone involved. And I just think it's a great experience overall. And one of the reasons I've come to love Eurovision even more in the past couple of years is because of all of the LGBT representation there. I was planning on making this video on Sunday, like the day after Eurovision, but there was just too much and I couldn't get my feelings together that fast. So now they're coming out a little bit later than probably it would be timely. So now with all of that out of the way, I'm gonna split up the portions of Eurovision into 3 parts, and they're gonna be the acts, the hosts, and the fans. So Eurovision has 3 different parts to it. They have a first semifinal, a second semifinal, and the final. So the first semifinal saw a performance by a previous Eurovision winner, and her name is Dana International, or her stage name is Dana International. She won in 1998 for Israel, and she was also the first trans winner of Eurovision. So it was huge that she won back then, but it was excellent to see her perform in Israel now. She sang Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars, and the really fun thing about her performance was that they had a kiss cam. The kiss cam was over the audience, and there were actually quite a few same-sex couples kissing. And even though a couple of countries' announcers had problems with this, I'm talking specifically about Belarus, that announcer actually got a lot of backlash for being anti-LGBT, and all the people who were on camera on the kiss cam were really supported, and Dana International got a lot of support also just for performing again, for being out and proud and trans, and for having such a cool audience element to it. So that was a great start to Eurovision this year. And because I am kind of running through this because I don't have a ton of time, I'm just going to skip to the finale. So another like halftime element kind of, it went on during the voting, was that the hosts had a couple of previous winners and fan favorites come on to perform songs. And the 2 that I thought at least were the most notable of those performers were Conchita Wurst and Verka Serduchka. So Conchita Wurst won for Austria in 2014, and he is a drag queen. Conchita Wurst is the stage name, she goes by she, but the man behind the performer is a drag queen. He's a guy. His name is Thomas Neuwirth. He's an openly gay man. He's married. He's a drag queen. It's really cool to see that kind of representation just out in public and winning massive contests like Eurovision. And even though he didn't win, Verka Serduchka is also a pretty notable character because he also performs in drag. So the thing that I love the most about them having 2 drag queens performing in the same spot was that they showed very different sides to it. My opinion of Conchita Wurst is that they have a very put together drag persona. She's very glam, very pretty, and really nice and put together. And then directly juxtaposed to that is Verka Serduchka, and their drag persona is out there, is really fun, pretty crazy. I'm putting pictures in here so you can see, but I love their drag persona just as much, but in a completely different way. So it was cool to see that kind of variety in the representation. Now to get into the actual acts, I have 3 that I'm going to talk about. The first one, and everyone can see this coming, is Bilal Hassani. He participated for France. He's 19-year-old, openly gay. He plays around with gender, wore a beautiful wig during his performance. I could not have more respect for him, and I could not be happier for him for having performed at such a young age on such a big stage and for potentially having a huge impact on the people who were watching. His song was called Roi, which means king in French, and it started out with I am me and had other lyrics like you can't put me in a box and let me fly. So his song was an incredibly inspiring message to be yourself no matter what that means. And I loved it. I really hoped that he would win. He was my number 1 spot for winning. He got my 12 points, but I I love the potential for his song and for what it could mean for future people who want to participate in Eurovision or just who are looking for that kind of representation. And then for non-LGBT singers, I want to talk about Leonora, who performed for Denmark, and also Hatari, who performed for Iceland. So Leonora's performance was really sweet and really cute. It was definitely one of my early favorites. The song was called Love is Forever, and throughout the song, almost every time that they said love is forever, they also immediately followed it with and for everyone. So that was just so uplifting and nice and great, and it was really impactful to have lyrics like that so early on in the performances, and it just made me really happy to see that from someone who wasn't LGBT. And then lastly, this was my second favorite after Bilal, was Hatari for Iceland. I have come to love them over the past couple of days. I've watched so many interviews. I've seen all of probably their music videos. I'm absolutely in love with them. I could go on about them forever. I won't, but what I'm going to say about them was that they played a lot and play a lot in all of their other works with gender and like masculinity and femininity. And I think that's one of just the aspects of BDSM culture. So I was really happy to see that represented, even though it wasn't specifically LGBT. They do support and receive support from many LGBT fans. I'm one of them now. So it was awesome to see that kind of counterculture message being put on a stage in front of 200 million people. I could go on about the performances all day long. There were a couple that I wanted to mention too, like Greece's performance and North Macedonia's, but I won't, even though they had really, really positive messages like better love and women's rights, and it was just really good. I'm sorry, I can't talk about this forever. I have to move on. The next element I want to talk about are the hosts, but I really only mean Asi Azar. The other hosts seem like perfectly nice people, but I love how open he was about being gay. Asi Azar found a couple of ways to say that he was gay live in front of 200 million people, and that is so admirable. And I just want to talk about what he did during the show and what he's done after the show, and like just how great I think it all is. This is a really positive video. So the first thing that I think caught everyone's attention, but like really caught my attention too, was that pretty early on he was trying to promote the Eurovision app, trying to get people to download it. He was like, we use apps for everything, for ordering meals, ordering a ride somewhere, and a lot of apps are blowing up right now, like the one like Grindr, which is full of a ton of handsome tourists. And I was kind of blown away that he was so open and like not subtle about what he was saying, and that's what got me like really hooked on him as a person that early on. Later on in the show, when he was interviewing Madonna, which by the way Madonna performed, it was kind of lackluster in my opinion. The two of them had a bit of a rapport going back and forth, that he had actually asked her to marry him a couple of times. And when she said that it had finally worked and had agreed to marry him, he said that his husband wouldn't appreciate that, wouldn't be happy about that. So he even announced that he was married live. It's huge. So I love just like how true, how honest, how real he was. To see that kind of representation, not only as like performers can be gay, which has been a thing for a very long time, but even people like the hosts, the MCs can be gay, is awesome. A couple of things that have come out since Eurovision, which have made me just appreciate him, is that he did announce that he is donating the money that he got for hosting Eurovision, which comes out to around £23,000. He's donating that to an LGBT youth organization in Israel, which is amazing because he didn't need to do that, but also because that money is going to make huge differences in the lives of the LGBT youth that it touches. So I'm really happy to see not only that that organization exists, but also that he was willing to donate to them. And also to like bring this back to what I was saying earlier, is that he actually said that Dana International, the previous winner who I mentioned, had like the kiss cam going on during their performance. So he said that he was 20 years old when Dana International performed in 1998, and that seeing them made him feel comfortable and confident enough to come out in the closet. So that's just, it's beautiful, it's great. And I like that he was able to say that Eurovision changed his life, because it's potential that he's going to change someone else's life because he was on Eurovision. So it's a nice little cyclical giving it forward, all that kind of thing. It was nice, it was good. And last but not least, I do want to talk about the fans of Eurovision. So like I said, Eurovision was streamed live to over 200 million people worldwide, and there's been so much LGBT support since Eurovision aired. There's been support for the LGBT acts like Bilal Hassani, for the host because people are thinking that he's great, and also that there's been support for LGBT people when other people haven't been supporting it. So like I said earlier, with the kiss cam, there was a commentator from Belarus who was upset that they were showing same-sex couples kissing, and those people have been shut down, and the voices of pro-LGBT people have been a lot louder than the voices against LGBT. So that's super nice. But I don't just want to talk about the fans internationally. I really want to talk about the fans who were at Eurovision. So of course there was the kiss cam. So it was super fun and super cool to see that there were people out and about who were willing to kiss on camera and just be there and be queer and be awesome. But there were so many people in the crowd who had LGBT pride flags, who had trans flags, and it was really beautiful to me. It was so nice to see that, because you have to know that not everyone in that audience identified as LGBT. But the fact that there were so many allies there makes me feel like Eurovision really is an LGBT safe space. Like, people were protected and connected, and that's really uplifting because I feel like we don't have enough of that in the world today. And probably my favorite thing from all of Eurovision 2019, I'm not even joking, like, more than any of the acts, more than the host, more than just like the unity of people coming together, all of that. My favorite thing was that at very front and center, right there in the crowd, and you saw it constantly, was someone holding a pole with two flags on it. One, which was the Israeli flag, which makes sense because it was hosted in Israel this year, and the second was a pride flag. And almost every single act had that flag in it, front and center, just because that's where it was. And I'm so happy and wish I knew who that person was holding that flag so that I could thank them. I am so, like, it really does make me emotional. I don't know if that sounds pathetic or weird or whatever, but it makes me so emotional and happy, and it just makes me feel incredibly supported that there was someone there who said, you know what, I bought a ticket to sit front and center, and I'm going to bring, of all things, a pride flag. I wish I could thank that person. I could not be happier that that was a thing, that was so on display, so front and center. It makes me really happy. I could talk about this forever. In fact, I am planning on recording a little bit more on my Patreon and posting that tomorrow. So if you want to make sure that you are one of the first people to see me just talking a lot more about Eurovision, then make sure you go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/callmecrashy. Sign up there, and then tomorrow when I post that video, you'll be able to watch it. Thanks for giving me a safe space to just talk about this and be excited and be happy. I appreciate it a lot. And if you liked seeing me so happy and bubbly about a topic, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, because that will make me even more happy and bubbly, and leave a comment down below to let me know what you thought of this Eurovision. Did you like the acts? Did you think all the LGBT representation was awesome? What did you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. And last but not least, I'm gonna plug my Instagram because I love plugging my Instagram. It's super blue. It makes me really happy. And I post a lot of updates there about like what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. Day-to-day, you heard me. Day-to-day life. I'm too excited. I have to go. I have to edit this video. I have to go. Anyways, like I said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for making me feel like I am supported on this channel. I hope that you feel supported when you come to my channel. And we'll talk again soon. I'll see you on the internet. Tschüssi. Google Sie new.